Time now for your forewarned weather with Cedric Haynes.
Welcome back. Let's get another check of that afternoon forecast at your lunch hour. Maybe if you want to have lunch outside, just take a little gander up just to make sure it doesn't look like it could rain, right?
Yeah,
when I was out there earlier, there's little spots all over.
Little spots. You know, we had some rain this morning that kind of tapered off and some breaks in the clouds, but some of that moisture is kind of shifting around the state. So it may be dry where you are now, but that could change in a couple hours. So, you know, we always say download the Forewarn mobile app because that way you can take the radar and zoom right down to wherever you are and know if anything is sneaking in. So,
that's all you need.
Yeah. And it's one of those days where we're in that type of pattern. Let me show you what's going on right now from Ivins, Utah. This is live at the Black Desert Resort. Of course, they're getting ready for the Black Desert Championship this week. And, of course, the preparations are underway there. And the blue skies, not too bad out there with a couple of fair weather clouds. But we're going to watch those clouds here, especially off into the distance as they continue to try to build up a little bit. It could spell a chance of an isolated shower or two this afternoon. Now, outside the ABC4 studios, again, we do have more cloud cover, but we still have some blue sky mixed in there, and it is fairly dry out there at the moment. Temperatures jumping into the lower 50s outside the station. But earlier today, of course, we had more clouds and even some rain during the pre-dawn hours this morning. So thankfully, things have kind of dried out for the part of the day. We've got this cold front that's working its way in from the northwest, pushing off towards the southeast. That's going to pretty much stay off towards our north and east. But this weak low pressure system is drifting across the state. But you can see as it moves closer and closer, the main shield of moisture kind of pivots around that. So right now it's over southwest Utah. It's expected to expand north and east, especially for areas east of I-15 later this afternoon. That's where we have a chance of seeing or hearing a couple of rumbles of thunder and seeing a couple of flashes of lightning, but not expecting any severe storms. But just know that don't be surprised to hear a pop-up thunderstorm in your neighborhood as we go throughout later today. All right, let's talk about what's going on here in terms of what you can expect here as we go throughout the rest of today. Of course, as this low pressure system continues to make its way on across the area here, that will continue to bring us some decent conditions here with the chance of precipitation showing up out there for us. As we look at the radar picture, you'll be able to see we've got a couple of isolated showers across the north, nothing that is causing too many major impacts out there for us right now. But again, a couple of showers primarily in the mountains and the higher elevations here, but we can see this pattern continuing as we progress throughout the day here across the region. And then as we take a look at what's going on down towards southern portions of the state here in the mountains, we've got some scattered showers, but also notice that dark blue showing up there in some of the mountains of southern Utah. That's important to note because, yeah, believe it or not, it is still producing some snow. We've had some snow out there near the Bryan Head area this afternoon and earlier this morning as well. So still some winter conditions possible, especially in the higher elevations with the system, but most of us in the valley just seeing rain. You can see why. Temperatures fairly warm out there, low 50s there from the Wasatch Front to the mid 50s there in Ogden. We've got 40s though down across central and southern portions of the state, but look at that 63 in St. George. Along the Wasatch Front, we'll be in the 50s, climbing into the low 60s by later this afternoon with a mixture of clouds and sunshine out there. St. George, upper 60s, give way to low 70s by later today. Again, a mixture of clouds and sunshine with a few isolated showers possible. Overall, this cutoff low pressure bringing us to cooler conditions with some scattered showers. We'll be lifting on off towards the north, and then as that trough lifts out, this system weakens and allows for some drier air to briefly build in as we get into your Tuesday, but that's not going to likely stick around forever as we'll likely see our next storm system quickly approaching beyond that. So as we go throughout this afternoon, again, you can see the activity over southern Utah may actually increase a little bit across northern portions of the state, especially east of I-15 as that low pressure rolls on through, and then it's out of here as we get towards tonight. And then notice as we go into next week here, we're going to see again a slight chance of an isolated shower on your Tuesday. Otherwise, better chance of rain, I think, across the northern half of the state in time for your Wednesday morning commute. So we'll get that system to make its way through Wednesday into Thursday, and then that drifts on out of here. And then as we get towards the end of the week here, we'll be watching for another stronger system potentially by the end of the weekend. So St. George, 70s give way to 80s out there with those chances of scattered showers and storms. In the Wasatch Front, we'll see showers today with a better chance of rain showers Wednesday morning, followed by more rain and thunderstorms on your Sunday.